Quran. So therefore Quran is not just for Arabs or Muslims, it's for everybody. They have to also read the book with an open mind. 90% of the converts who said that they read the Quran with a very open mind, no biases, all right, no preconceived notions, they thought, these are their words, they thought that it's God talking to them. Because you see, the most important thing that we have to realize in Dawah is, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam, what is the purpose of Dawah? To make the person realize that this message is for you also as much as it is for me. Right? As much as I follow this belief system, it is also for others on this earth. The problem arises when people get into this negative bias, my religion is better than yours, your religion is better than mine. There is only one religion that Allah chose and sent, from Adam alayhi salam to Nuh to Ibrahim, and that's why we believe in all the previous prophets of Allah. Because our belief is all the prophets of Allah brought the same message, Tawheed. Right? That same slide that we had before. This one. All the prophets brought the same message. Yes. And each one of the prophet was bringing the concept that you have to live for akhirah, life after death. Nuh alayhi salam, Ibrahim alayhi salam, Musa alayhi salam, Isa alayhi salam, they all spoke to their people about life after death. That we have to live for the next life, in the next life. So that's why the message is universal. The message is same. When we are giving dawah, we are not forcing anybody. You know the ayah we mentioned previously also, you can use that. The Quran says very clearly, La iqra'a fi din. There is no compulsion in deen. Deen is open for everybody. Whoever wants to adhere and listen to it, it's fine. Whoever does not want to listen or adhere to it, that's fine too. There's nothing wrong with that. The only thing is, they are responsible after listening to the message, what they have to do. Our job is what? Balagh. So when we're doing balagh, when we're doing information sharing, we are not coercing people, or we're not portraying that Islam is the only solution. I know a lot of da'is, they say, no, Islam is the only solution, and these people have to agree to that, and they have to believe, and they have to say the shahada. If we go with that aggressive attitude in da'wah, it may help sometimes. A lot of da'is will say, oh, I get shahada like this. In a snap, in a blink of an eye, I get shahada. But is that sustainable? Is that person who says the shahada on the street, on the road with you in 10 minutes, will that person continue when they go back home? So really, it's very important, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam, it's very important to make sure that the person is understanding what they are getting into. I always say this before giving shahada. Do you know what you're getting into? Yes. What do you mean, yes? You know, your life is going to change 180 degrees. Before, pork, now no pork. Before girlfriend, boyfriend, now nothing of that. Before drinking or drugs or whatever, now nothing of that. So if your before life was so heavily infested with many things, you have to make a big decision and change. Yeah, change does not happen overnight, but believing in the system happens overnight. If somebody says, I can't get rid of my alcohol addiction, or I can't get rid of my dating addiction or things like that, you still give them the shahada. Yes, you make them the first step to become Muslim. But you tell them that you have to let go of these things over a gradual period of time, weaning them off. But the most important thing we need to worry about is avoid saying negative about other faiths. A lot of people have this negative attitude when they're giving dawah, especially on the streets. Oh, your religion is bogus. Oh, your religion is this. Your religion is that. With all due respect for people from India, our da'is get very aggressive. Oh, you're a cow worshipper. You drink the pee of a cow. Now, if you say like that to somebody, do you think they're going to listen to your message? If you degrade somebody, if you humiliate somebody, if you insult, this is not what Rasul did. There were people who worship statues in front of him in Mecca. Did he degrade them? Did he insult them? That, oh, you're worshiping stones. You're going to be thrown with the stones in the hellfire. I know I'm a prophet of Allah. This is the ayah, I got it. Did he do that? No. What he did was compassion, love, mercy, rahmah. attract them. So that's why even the Quran says that. There's an ayah in the Quran, I believe in Surah An'am, I'm not sure exactly, I'll bring it next one. Allah says in that ayah, وَلَا تَصُبُّوا الَّذِينَ يَدْعُونَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ فَيَصُبُّوا اللَّهَ عُدْوَانًا. Translation, do not curse the people's beliefs. وَلَا تَصُبُّوا الَّذِينَ يَدْعُونَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ. Don't curse the people who worship other gods besides Allah. Why? They will curse upon Allah in animosity, hatred, udwan. How would you feel if somebody started cursing Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? It's going to boil your blood. How would you feel if somebody started making fun of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So in the same way, as da'is, we have to be intelligent, smart. And if you see any brother or sister giving dawah and insulting someone's religion, stop them. Say, brother, please, this is not Islam. This is not the akhlaq of our Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Our Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam akhlaq was ikram, takreem, karam, jud, rahmah, mercy. Ikram, takreem means, a kind of hospitality, a kind of generosity, kindness, gentleness, so that the person feels that, I love this man, I want to believe what he believes in. This is the philosophy of da'wah, falsafat al-da'wah. Ulama have written books and books about falsafah. What's the philosophy of da'wah in Islam? It is to present Islam in such a way, in a plate, that it's very enticing, attractive. Like somebody brings in front of you a food, and you're hungry, and it smells good aroma, smell attractive, good colors, and the plate is shining. You don't even hesitate, you just jump right over. Because you're hungry. So the people in this country are hungry. What's the first thing you have to understand? People in this country are what? Hungry. You don't realize that. Because nobody's going to stand outside on the street and say, I'm hungry for belief. I'm hungry for faith. They're hungry inside because when you do a small talk with them, a small spark, you see their questions. Did you ever encounter anybody who's hungry for faith? Anybody you spoke and they were like thinking? Alright, so it's very important to avoid saying negative of other religion. Don't go that line. Don't go that side. Even if they are cursing us back or doing something against us, tell them, excuse me, sir, ma'am, we're not here to argue, number one. We're not here to curse. We're not here to use profanity, bad language, bad words. We're here as educated, intellectual people. The literacy rate in this country, anybody know how much it is? In this country, what's the literacy rate? I'll give you a hint. It's above 80%. All right? So 80% of the population are literate people. So how do you talk to literate people? How do you talk to intellectual people? Understanding, reasoning, explanation, not fighting and arguing. No fasad, no fitna. Right? And next, very important thing, I'm here talking to you not to force you to change your belief system. I'm just showing you that you have a right to choose a belief system. I have a right to choose a belief system. And I believe that my belief system, number two, my belief system is the Sirat al-Mustaqim. And you can mention the ayah in the Quran, Surah Al-Imran, Allah says, Inna deen inda Allahi al-Islam. Inna deen, very the religion or the way of life, and Allah, with Allah. Allah has said that statement. This is a Madani ayah and a Madani surah, Surah Al-Imran, revealed in Medina, because there were a lot of Jews and Christians living in Medina. So Allah revealed this ayah to inform them, look, Allah chose Islam for all humanity, from the beginning till the end. Beginning is Adam, alayhi salam, end is who? Come. Who's the end? Muhammad sallallahu. Yes. Fine, 1400 years have passed, but there's no more prophet to come. So from beginning to end, Deen and Allahi is Islam. One religion, one message, one faith. The Jews and Christians claim, oh, we have a right on Prophet Ibrahim. Ibrahim is a Jew. The Christians say Ibrahim is Christian. Allah refuted this in the Quran also. Allah said, مَا كَانَ إِبْرَاهِيمَ يَهُودِيًّا وَلَا نَصْرَانِيًّا وَلَكِنْ كَانَ حَنِيفًا مُسْلِمًا. Allah subhanahu is saying that Ibrahim alayhi salam was not a Jew. مَا كَانَ إِبْرَاهِيمَ يَهُودِيًّا وَلَا نَصْرَانِيًّا. He was not a Jew nor a Christian. وَلَكِنْ كَانَ Hanif. Hanif or Hunafa are people who believe in monotheism, monotheistic. People who believe in unity of God. Like that Sahabi who came, I forget his name, who came to Rasulullah and he said, Ya Rasulullah, my father passed before you came as a prophet. What's going to happen to him? So Rasulullah said, if he is on Hanif, Allah will resurrect him on Yawm al-Qiyamah. And if he is on Hanif, if he is on oneness, Allah will put him in Jannah. Even before the before the coming of Rasulullah, whoever was there and died, if they were on Hanif. Hanif has been a universal message. Oneness of Lord, oneness of deity has been a universal message. Even the nomads and desert people knew about that. That's why the Quran time and again says, وَلَئِن سَأَلْتَهُمْ مَنْ خَلَقَ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ لَيَقُولَنَّ اللَّهُ. O Muhammad ﷺ, if you ask these Quraysh, if you ask these Arabs in Mecca, ask them what? Who created the heavens and the earth? They will surely say, Allah is saying in the ayah, they will reply, surely indeed it is Allah. So even the idol worshippers, even the pagan Arabs knew there is Hanif, there is one Allah, one God. So why you worship the statues? They replied to Muhammad ﷺ, Allah mentioned that in Surah Zumar, Surah 39, that مَا نَعْبُدُهُمْ إِلَّا لِيُقَرِّبُنَا إِلَى اللَّهِ زُلْفَةً. We worship them only to make us closer to Allah. And they are intermediaries. These statues, these gods that we have taken or made by our own hands, they are intermediary. Allah says, what is Hanif? Hanif means that you don't need any intermediary, direct to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that is very important, to build on similarities.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
So if anybody comes after Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, any person, if he believes in oneness, whatever he says, so he's going to be forgiven too. Like let's say
After Muhammad sallallahu
no.
What I said statement earlier is for people before Muhammad sallallahu.
Because I was watching a video from Dr. Zakir Naik. He mentioned about a Christian. So he mentioned to her, like, if you are truly a Christian, like if you believe in Prophet Abraham, like whatever he did, like if you believe actually whatever you did, if you are on his faith, I believe inshallah you will go to Jannah. That's what he mentioned.
I don't know the context, I haven't seen that video, but there must be more to that. This is a common agreed fact on ulama. Without the belief in Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, nobody is complete. So that's why believing in Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is one of the pillars of faith. You can't bypass that. So nobody can change the deen. Alright, the next thing, very important, acknowledge the good you see in them. See, a lot of times dawah is all about mindset. So when you remember in the previous slides we talked about that, how to engage with the person, how to ask their background, how to get to know them, what are their likes and dislikes, what's their personality like, what's their family like, what's their background like. So once you get to know them in the conversation, wherever you see something good in them, say, oh wow, that's good. That's how we also do it. For example, let's say they mention we are very, very respectable to our parents. We are supposed to, whoever that person is, whatever their faith is, they say, we are very respectable to parents. What's the similarity with Islam in there?
It's a commanded,
It's a command from Allah, exactly. That's exact the word I use with them. I say, you know what? We are commanded by God, Allah, in the Quran, to respect the parents, to obey them, and be servitude to them. So you see, whenever you hear something good from someone, acknowledge it and relate it to Islam. Because why is this strategy important? This will bring them step closer to you. See, when you start giving dawah to somebody, you're standing here, they're standing there, right? So there's a big difference. What you are supposed to do when you're giving dawah is slowly, step by step, bring them closer to you, closer to you, closer to you. If you read the Sahaba stories, those who converted to Islam, one thing is common in all of their Sahaba stories. And what is that? Something to do with closeness. Each of the Sahabi who became a Muslim at the hands of Rasulullah, there is one thing common in all of them. Before becoming a convert, they were in a different belief system, right? And as they interacted with Prophet Muhammad slowly and gradually interacted in any different way, what happened? They slowly became closer and closer to him. They felt a pulling. They felt a magnetic force towards him. Why? Because of his akhlaq, his character, his adab, his manners, his etiquettes. That's why talk is only 10% of the dawah. 90% of dawah is what? Talk is just 10%, very small amount. 90% of dawah, your akhlaq, your adab, how you deal with that person, how you interact with that person. Even if you're speaking to them just for 10 minutes, 15 minutes on the sidewalk, on the road, they will remember forever, I met a Muslim, he or she was talking to me about Islam. Wow, they are very, very well respected. They had very high manners. So you make an impact in the person. And remember, be prepared to clarify the Islamic position on issues. Last Wednesday, remember we were talking about the very tough question, right? What was that? Who remembers? What was that tough question we answered last?
Beard.
No, that was the week before that. I'm talking about last Wednesday.
Prophets marriage?
Huh?
Prophets marriage?
Yes, to who?
Aisha.
Prophet's marriage to Aisha Ridwan,
Oh, sorry.
right? Young girl Aisha. Because they don't understand this, They think that, oh, this is something bad. A 50-year-old man marrying a small girl. We explained last Wednesday, if you remember, I gave you about 5 points, or at least 7 points. That this is 7 points you can answer in relation to that question. To clarify your position, you tell them, look, it's not the way you're thinking. They're coming from a negative background, right? They're saying that, oh, astaghfirullah, he's a child molester, or a pedophile, or he's a woman lover. They have a negative mindset. You're clarifying that in the context that, look, you're taking a factual information. Yes, the marriage did happen, and yes, the age was young, but you're taking a factual information and you're twisting it and portraying it in a negative way. That is wrong. That is dishonesty to intellectualism. Intellectually, if you learn something about some prophet, you're supposed to portray it in the right way it is. But that is what the haters of any faith would do. They will take the factual information, turn it around. Next thing, very important, you understand. Why do they attack Prophet Muhammad's marriage? Because for them to attack prophets is a common thing. The Bible mentions, astaghfirullah, that Prophet Lut al-Islam had slept with his daughters. And in many of the other passages of Bible, it mentions about different prophets that they were drunk. They would drink and get drunk. What is our aqidah about prophets? They're all ma'soom. Ma'soom in Arabic means innocent. They don't have sins, right? So, hasha lillah, astaghfirullah. We cannot even think about a prophet of Allah, having interaction with his daughter at home, incest. Astaghfirullah, we cannot even think about any prophet of Allah drinking or any bad behavior, fahisha, immorality. But for them, the Bible is filled of passages. So imagine you're a young boy or girl and you're growing up reading Bible and say, oh, prophet did this, oh, prophet did this. So for them, oh, prophet married 9-year-old girl? Must be like the other prophets in the Bible. So that's why it's very important to clarify the Islamic position. What is our Islamic position on prophets? They're all innocent. We respect and love Jesus just more than you love him. Why? How can you prove to somebody? That's a good question. We get this question asked a lot of times in the field. How can you prove to them, by them I mean anyone who believes in Jesus, anyone who loves Jesus, how can you prove to them that we love and respect Jesus, Isa al-Islam, more than you do to him? This needs thinking. Think about it.
Because he mentioned in the Quran and in the Bible too.
That's the basic answer we all Muslims give, but that's not their answer. Sorry. Think deeper.
Like he prayed.
Huh?
We pray like he prayed.
We pray like he prayed. That's the second very common answer we give, but that doesn't really convince them.
We don't portray his pictures. We
Bad
about him. We never.
Yes.
We never slander him. We never do anything.
Just one thing, picture. You don't respect him. You, all of your churches across the globe, as soon as you enter a church, what's the first thing you see? Is he Jesus? He's not Jesus. How do you know he's Jesus? I ask many Christians, give me one proof, solid proof, this is the exact face of Jesus. Can you show me something when he was born? You have a picture? This is a man-made image. Someone centuries ago made a design, an image of Jesus, and so the church has been just following. The example of this similar is, if God forbid, Laos Billah, back in Medina 14 years ago, maybe imagine one of the Sahabi make a picture of Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Today, all the masajid will be full of, this is Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Right? But that's why Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam did not allow his companions to make a picture of it. They had pen or they had things that they can carve out of it. They could have done it. But this is the reason he said no, because this will bring us to idol worship. Imagine every masjid you go to, there's a statue of Muhammad. Astaghfirullah. So that's why we respect prophets more than you do, because we don't have their image. We don't even agree that this image is Jesus. Some of the youngsters in this country, our Muslim youth, they are beginning, because they live around and interact with Christians so much, they begin to believe, oh, this is Jesus. And I tell them, no, this is not Jesus. Who told you this is Jesus? Oh no, the church has, no, church is fake. Imagine you claim that you love a prophet and you have made his image, which is also false. And I tell this to all the Christians, that you believe just like we believe that Jesus is coming back. They say yes. And I tell you what, the day Jesus comes back on earth, all of your churches will be falsified. Because the real Jesus, when you see his face, oh, this face is totally different. So for thousands of years we were worshiping in the church the wrong man. So that's what the brother said very rightfully. The best answer to give them, that we love and respect him and cherish him more than you do, because we don't have an image for him. You have disrespected him. You have dishonored him. You have done tawheen, tadleel. You have put him down by making his image and then propagating that image all over the place. That's one point. What's the second thing that you can use in Dawah to show that you disrespect Jesus and we don't disrespect? What is in that statue? The cross. So what's about the cross? What's wrong with the cross? Crucifixion. Huh?
Salam, peace on him. Whenever Isa alayhi salam.
No, that is true, but that is not, they don't say that, they will not get that point. But what the Ahmed is saying is true. This is what the point I want to read. That they have his image of crucifixion in the churches. In a house of worship, you have an image, let's say for the sake of argument, we accept their argument that okay, so you are basically portraying a negative image about your prophet all over the world. If something bad happens, what's the first thing you want to do? Cover up, right? If my hand is injured, I'll try to cover up myself. Okay. You say, brother, what's wrong? Why something wrong with my hand? I mean, something, like we say in Arabic, aib. Aib means defect. If something is defective, you want to cover it, hide it. Am I right or wrong? Does logic dictate us? Yes, logic says. Here you have a man who you assume, we don't claim, and we don't agree with that, but you claim and you assume, here's a man who was crucified to death, and yet here you are portraying that image all over the world. In the cars, in the buses, everywhere. In their neck, they have a cross. What does the cross signify? A negative thing about him, about a prophet of Allah. Why you want to portray negativity about the man you claim that you love? We love him more than you do, and we don't agree, number one, that he was crucified. Number two, we don't even agree to that image, that symbol. Yes?
But their whole belief system is based on that. He came, he was crucified, he went through this pain for forgiveness of them. So that's their...
I know. So here we're just talking about respect, honor. You say you respect your prophet Jesus, we say we respect him. But we respect him more than you do. As far as the beliefs and the concepts, we'll come to that. That's a separate slide. We'll come to that. We'll have at least 3 classes, 3 Wednesdays back to back, just about the Christian belief system and how to tackle that. How to address that. Right? We'll be coming to that. When we come to that, then you can ask this question at that time and I'll explain. But for today, what are we talking about? Avoiding conflict. Avoiding disagreement, fight, argumentation. If you see that your Dawah conversation is escalating into an argument and fight, what should you do? I said this last Wednesday.
Stop.
De-escalate. Stop. Say, sorry, I have to go. وَإِذَا خَاطَبَهُمُ الْجَاهِلُونَ قَالُوا سَلَامًا. Surah Furqan, Allah says, when the ignorant talk to them, they say, Salaam alaikum. I can't talk to you. You're not in the right frame of mind. Come back to me again another day, we'll talk. But we are here to talk as civilized, educated, mannered people. We will not stoop down to such a low level that we start cursing each other, arguing each other, yelling and screaming. That's not the purpose of dialogue. Why do you want to argue and fight and yell and scream? It's not going to get us anywhere. You want to have a civilized talk, discussion, dialogue, conversation, I'm always available. We can do that. But if we are going to stoop down to such a low level that we start arguing and fighting and yelling, I gotta go. I don't want to. Why? They'll say, why? You scared? You chicken? You coward? Why? So what are you going to say? What's the answer to why?
My religion doesn't teach that.
Huh?
My religion doesn't teach.
Mumtaz, that's second answer, but the first answer should be what?
Because when we anger, we are not in a sense, in a common.
No. He's right, but that's the secondary answer. Primary should be before that. Second answer should be my religion does these steps. First answer should be what? My Prophet Muhammad did not do that. What are we doing when we're giving dawah? Following the sunnah of Muhammad. Am I right or wrong?
Yes.
You are in the footsteps of Muhammad. You're taking exact same step you did in Mecca and Medina and Taif. So how can I do something that my Prophet didn't do? You know why this should be the first answer? Because that will make them think, wow, your Prophet was like that? Really? But all I heard about your Prophet was he is fighting and aggressive and war. No, you heard wrong. I don't do this, I don't engage because my Prophet didn't do it. Second answer, like the brother said, my religion does not teach me that. Why these two things are important? Why these two answers are important? Especially here in America after 9/11. You know why it's important to mention both these two things?
They will think about more.
Yeah, but why will they think about it? Because after 9/11, what happened? The media portrayed Islam and our Prophet as the boogeyman, hoax, dangerous. So when you are separating from them from an argument, when you're moving away, when you say Assalamu alaikum, you tell them the reason I'm not going to fight you or argue with you because my Prophet didn't do it, my religion does not dictate that. If you were thinking the religion does that, you were wrong. If you think my Prophet did that, you were wrong. So at least they leave with a positive thought. Really? Their Prophet did it? Really? Their religion says not to fight? Not to argue? But Fox and CNN and BBC and MSN told me that they love to fight. Don't you guys love to fight? Aren't you supposed to chop my head off? Am I not an infidel? These are kind of things I'll say. Say, no, that's wrong. So you're killing two birds with one stone. A, you're disengaging, de-escalating. Second, you're putting a good seed in their mind. Hopefully, when they leave, they'll think about it and they'll come back and say, you know what? Last time I spoke to you, you made a point and you're right. We should not act that way. So this is what the last point is. Responsibility is to give the message and leave it up to Allah. When you're de-escalating, you've done your job. You've done your responsibility. When you're not fighting, when you're saying qalu salama, like the ayah, when you're saying peace, I'm going away, you're basically giving them a responsible message. You will see the result of that in return. Is that clear for today? This is our class today, right? This was our topic, how to avoid conflict.
Can you send us like last week? You didn't send us.
I already sent this to the WhatsApp
It's
group.
there in the group.
Yeah? Yeah, last week.
Okay, I'll resend it again. From if you scroll
We
back
sent
up.
the 10 slides.
Yeah, these are all the 10 slides.
Okay. Oh, okay.
It is in the WhatsApp app.
Yeah,
We did this last time, right? How to answer the tough questions. When we talked about the question about the marriage of the Prophet. Yes?
Yeah. Can you share your experience as you said, like when you tell them we respect more than you because you don't have images of him, Prophet Jesus. Do they agree? Because I don't think it's bad for them to have images.
Yeah, you're right. They will not accept it, but those people are not accepted who are like die-hard Christians. Those who are, really, really firm believe into it. But those who are like half-half, 50-50, superficial, or not that committed people in any faith, they will understand right away. I've had so many people who don't follow Christianity. They just classify themselves as Christian because they were born in a Christian household. But now at this age, wherever they are, they're not going to church, they're not, celebrating even Christmas, they're not even doing anything in their faith. When they listen to this kind of point, they agree with that. But you're right, the one who is a diehard Christian, they will not get it. And that's why some people will get it and some people will never get it. But you have to relay your point. See, you have to make your position clear on that issue, so that they are clear that, okay, that's the reason you don't have any images of prophets in your mosque. And that's the reason you are against our image of our prophet in our churches. Another thing you can give them a hint is, do you go to any synagogue, any temples? How many statues of Musa alayhi salam are there? Moses, David, Solomon, these are all Jewish prophets, biblical prophets. Isaac, Jacob, Joseph, the list goes on and on. How many of these prophets' statues, images you see anywhere? You may have them in terms of their books, in their biblical books. They might have image of Moses, or they made that Charlton Heston in Bollywood, they chose him as to be Moses. They made that movie long time ago, back in the 80s or 70s, I remember, about the splitting of the sea. Some famous movie that was made.
Ten Commandments.
10 Commandments, yeah. So they will choose any character and make them a prophet. For them, it's not an issue. But the thing is, do they have a statue inside every synagogue that they, respect or adhere to? No.
Most religions other than Islam and Judaism have some images. Like Hinduism, they have the images, statues, and that's what they say is that's their way of saying they love them more.
Yeah. Actually, the Hindus say the same thing, that these are avatar. These are like semi-gods or demigods that they take us closer to Ishwar. They believe in Ishwar, the Tawheed, one God. Or like Om, the concept of unity of Lord. But Ram, Sita, Gita, all of these, were process of getting closer to Ishwar. They also acknowledge there is one. I mean, even the Ramayana, Bhagavad Gita, if you read all their scripts in Sanskrit, it all talks about Tawheed. And these were images of supposedly prophets, because the Quran doesn't tell us if the Hindus directly had prophets, but the Quran tells us one ayah that Allah says, we send prophets to all mankind. So the Hindu civilization, their ancestors, these people might have come as a prophet. There's no denying of that. And we have some reference in the Quran for that. It's not by name like the Jewish prophets are or the biblical prophets are. So maybe these were prophets. And because they were so holy men and their wives were holy women, so they just made their image and started making their statues and made them as like semi-gods that we worship them. Just like the Quraysh. See, Hindus have a lot of similarity with Quraysh. Quraysh were also worshipping Lat, Uzza, Manat, all these idols, but they also believed in one God, Tawheed. Alright, so inshallah we'll continue next Wednesday. Jazakallah khair. Wassalamu alaikum.
I got one question, brother.
Yeah.
Kind of